Okay, I'm gonna cut through the bullshit real quick. There are some people who say that League of Legends has skill. It has zero skill. All it is just game rotation mechanism, because engagement optimized matchmaking rewards if you play a lot of games. And it's an e-drug. It's addictive. And it's for children. It's the reason why you're playing it is nothing to do with what some, like, most of the comments are good, right? But some people just don't get it, right? The reason why you're playing it is because people are addicted to it, right? It's a drug, and you backwards rationalizing why you are doing it. Now, there is a psychological term for this. Okay, so here it is. It's called cognitive dissonance, right? Now, cognitive dissonance, you can read up on it. It's basically conflicting beliefs, right? When somebody invests into something, when they purchase something, right, they will defend the product because, like, have you noticed the person makes a shit purchase, you tell him that it's a shit purchase, he probably logically understands that it's a shit purchase, and yet he starts attacking you because he's trying to avoid cognitive dissonance, right? Because people do not like states of like, they don't like to be uncomfortable. And when somebody shit talks League of Legends and they are already addicted to it and they cannot quit, right, they're gonna start defending it, even though inside of their head they understand that it's probably an e-drug. They probably get it, right? Most people I speak to hate League of Legends, the addicts. They hate it, but they still play because they're addicted, right? So, and one of the arguments is like, oh, it's an eSports, it's actual eSports. No, it's not. It's a gigantic industry to make money. It has nothing to do with being an eSport. And I'm going to prove it to you right now, right? All of it is just it's like freaking, what's that new drink? Prime or whatever, Prime Energy. That's not a sports drink. Do you understand? It's marketed as a sports drink, right? The athletes are promoting it. It has nothing to do with being a sports drink. It's not an energy drink. It has no calories. It has it has zero salt. The only thing it has is potassium, right? You cannot run an Ironman marathon and use Prime as a, you can use Lucozade, you can use Gatorade, because these are specifically designed drinks to prolong your endurance. They have to have calories, they have to have sugar, they have to have sodium, right? And that freaking drink has nothing in it, right? It's just a water that is flavored, and that's it, with caffeine, to make you even more addicted, right? Because caffeine is addictive. And now people are saying, oh, it's an energy drink. No, it's not. League of Legends is the same. Oh, it's an esport. No, it's not. It's a marketing scam. Do you understand? Right? So, okay. Let's go through. All right. Let's take tennis. Okay, so we go with proper sports, and what we are specifically interested in, the behavioral aspect of the people that are engaged with the quote-unquote sport, right? Now, tennis is a proper sport, right? So we're gonna go with actual sports, and we're gonna go with actual esports, and then we're gonna go shit of legends. My apologies, League of Legends, right? The battle of the shitters. That's my favorite. Okay. Actual sport. So let's take tennis. No, actually, let's go with basketball. Basketball is the easiest. Because I know basketball really well. I played to a high level, right? Okay. What does it take for an athlete, and we need to make a big note, behavior aspect, right? So for basketball player, what does it take to become good at basketball, right? You need to have physical ability. There is minimum level of physical ability that you have to have, which is trained through plyometrics, right? Now, you need to have good ball handling skills. If you're looking at the ball when you're dribbling, you're still not there. You must not be looking at the ball when you're dribbling, right? Because you cannot see the court. if that's happening. So you have to train your ball handling skills. Shooting. Now, it depends on whether you are catch and shoot. It really depends, but you have to practice shooting. Specific situational, kind of like your special moves. So, for example, let's say Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he had his skyhook, right? Skyhook. Jordan had his fadeaway. It's kind of like Kobe had his, I think he was like a lot to do with faking the shots and then shooting. Faking and shooting, right? So these are specifically situational skills that you have to train, okay? So how do you train them? How do you train them, right? You do not go to the freaking street ball, right? You don't go to the street ball playground and start playing with shitters to practice those on high level. You will not be an NBA player if you are playing against street ball kids. Do you understand? This requires you to go to the gym and train specific aspects, if that makes sense, right? It is nothing to do with going to the court and just playing a lot of games. Just playing a lot of games. It will not work, right? Will not work if you spam games. Will not work. I repeat, this will not work. Now, same with tennis. Let's look at, like, real quick at tennis. Now, there is footwork, endurance, right? How you swing the freaking bat or whatever it's called, the tennis racket, right? I don't play tennis, so I don't know. But I've seen, like, you have to, for 3 years, just to swing the freaking racket without even playing anyone. Just so you get the swing perfect. For 3 years, you do not play versus anyone. Do you understand? Again, I will emphasize this point. Spamming games does not work. You have to train specific situational skills. Right? Okay. So these are real swords. So we have concluded that for actual sports, right? You cannot spam games and become a pro, like super player. It's just not gonna work. Okay, let's look at eSports, right? Like StarCraft. Okay, StarCraft is an actual eSport game, right? 10,000 hours it requires to become an ASL. I'm talking about like the level where you can play at ASL level, right? This is ASL is like the highest StarCraft for. I'm talking about Brood War here, right? Brood War. Okay. Now you have to practice micro. You have to practice build orders. You have to practice building placements, right? Scouting and understanding what other person is doing. Well, that's not kind of, you kind of know what they're doing, the build orders, but you have to study build orders, right? All of that is tremendous amount of skill. There's a dude, he is a player, Protoss Mini. He doesn't even play against humans when he's preparing for ACL. He has bots that are simulating the build orders that his enemy is likely to make, and he's practicing playing against it and timing his builds and timing attacks and defense strategies. He's not even playing against humans. Okay, so if he goes onto the ladder and starts playing against shitters 24/7, do you think he's gonna be an ACL player? No, right? So spamming games does not work. Okay, next sport. Let's look at Counter-Strike, CS:GO, right? What do you need to practice in that? You need to practice shooting ability, right? You need to practice. You need to understand the maps. Like I don't play shooting games, so I cannot really go into. But most of your skill will come probably from your ability to shoot, understand the map, and work as a team. right? But I'd say maybe like 75%, you have to be in a training room and practicing how you shoot your cursor position. Well, not cursor, what is it called? Mouse positioning or cursor placement, I think it's called. And I've seen professional Counter-Strike players, before the game, they warm up and they practice, right? So again, we cannot simply spam games and become good, because it's a proper sport. Now, let's go to League of Legends. Right? Now, again, you have to remember, we're looking at behavioral aspects of the game. As soon as the season starts, what do the top players of League of Legends do? They play 20 games per day. 20 games per day. Right? Okay? I remember when the season started, I think it was 2 years ago, I specifically wanted to see the behavior aspect. I wanted to prove to myself, is League of Legends a skill game, or is it just spamming shitloads of games? So I was like, okay, what's the best way to check? How do the top players behave? Do they behave like athletes, which is these guys, i.e. they go into specific training zones and they start training specific skills that then transition into them being very, very good at the game that they're playing, which is either plyometrics, like ball handling, shooting, micro build orders, right? Or do they go and they just freaking try to spam more games than the other guy by drinking caffeine, basically? That's what they're doing. And surprise, surprise, every single freaking one of them, 20 games per season. There was a dude, he was like 36 hours he was playing. What kind of a moron is going to play basketball on a professional level when he has not slept for 20 hours? Just think about this. Just this alone proves that this is completely skillless, and he is somehow able to climb the game. So what are you trying to tell me? Like, you can actually play in NBA without sleep. You can play you can play StarCraft without sleep. Are you kidding me? You're gonna get absolutely destroyed by the ACL players. I'm talking, you won't even, you want 5 minutes and you're done. Right? But in League of Legends, on high level, it's still working somehow, right? Why is it working? Because it's not a sport. It's not a sport. It's spam games equal rank. Period. Okay, period. Now, otherwise, the top players would go and practice some skills, right? But League of Legends, surprise, surprise, ain't got no skills. It has no skills. What, are you gonna CS? That doesn't matter, because it's all about the dragons nowadays, right? What, are you gonna have plus 100 CS on Mundo? Mundo doesn't give a shit about your extra 50 damage from your BF sword or whatever, right? So all you're doing, the best description of League of Legends was by Unaware, I think. He is one of the guys who comments, right? You basically, the only option when you play top, for example, is to pick a tank and you're just CSing for 20 minutes, right? And then, fingers crossed, the shitter is not on your team. That's it. That's League of Legends. Fundamental. And people are like, yeah, but there's skill involved. What skill, dude? The top players. 20 games per season, no sleep, and they're still climbing. Are you shitting me? Are you trying to tell me that this is possible? Just go to any tennis player, tennis coach, and call him and say, hey, dude, is it possible to win Wimbledon championship, right, without sleeping, on high level, consistently? And he's gonna tell you, of course not. Are you kidding me? You gotta be in the peak shape. Your swing has to be perfect, right? You have to be ready because those games are gonna be real intense, right? In here, dude, I've been watching StarCraft now for very long now, 5-6 months now. And after watching StarCraft, it is impossible to watch League of Legends. Impossible. Because that game, it looks to me like this. I kind of Googled, so this is what it looks like. To me, right? When I watch the game, on the screen, this is what I see when I see League of Legends, right? I'll link this in the description below so you will see. Look, there's a fairy, and she's seeding this monster. And there are people who are telling me that this shit is serious, okay? Like, give me a freaking break, right? Now, you can play that without sleeping. I promise you that you can play without sleeping. Right? And that's kind of League of Legends. Right? Otherwise, this behavior would not be persistent on top level. Would you agree? Now, another thing is, the pro scene does not care about your rank. It stopped caring about the rank a long time ago when engagement optimized matchmaking was introduced, because they figured out, wait, the top guy is just a game spammer. He's not even the best, right? But when you look at things like Brood War, StarCraft, you see that the top players, the guys who are winning NSL, are also usually the top players, right? And they usually have very small amounts of games, because they don't need to spam games. They just win every single game with. Like, if you're a shitter and a non-ASL player, you are not going to beat an ASL player. It's not going to work. But in League of Legends, like, you can be like a challenger and you lose in bronze. And some people are like, oh, yeah. Dude, like, one thing I looked at and I was like, okay, what's Faker's win rate? The greatest of all time. 52% win rate on Faker. I was like, nah. Engagement optimized matchmaking for sure exists. You cannot. Do you understand? You are taking the greatest of all time, putting him into a system, and his statistics look like he's a shitter. Like he's a standard average player. That's because the system will do. It doesn't matter what your skill level is. It will turn you into this average statistic, because that's what it's designed to do, right? Because, like, I mean, think about StarCraft. You have Flash, who is like the best player of all time. He has 75% win rate on the highest level. He was playing, it was like World Cybernetics game. I think it's kind of like Olympics for Cybernetics games. And the Koreans were just trashing everyone. I'm talking like it was impossible to watch. There was like a Russian player very long time ago, and he was playing Brood War, very, very good player. And relative to Flash was just even playing without a keyboard at that level. Well, like, I'm talking like, once the game got to a certain level, he just stopped using keyboard, because it's such a big difference. Do you know what I'm saying? Such a big difference. But in here, a challenger player, like, you're playing one-on-one and he's some shitter. Do you know what I mean? And you're like, what? What the hell's going on? Because there's no skill. Right? Because it's this. Right? Like, how much skill is involved in this shite? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, CSing and all that shite. It's just pressing buttons. It's not a skill. It's not a game. It's not a real sport. Otherwise, like I said before, this behavior would not be the meta. Because this behavior is the meta. Spam games is the meta. Whereas in proper sports, do you see the commonality between actual sports and actual esports? Because they have to practice specific skills that make them good, right? And all of that shit is boring. It is boring. No one wants to sit in the gym and do plyometrics. It's painful and it's boring, right? Whereas everybody wants to do this shit. Everybody wants to do this game spamming. Everybody wants to move their mouse and have some shit happen on the screen. And the more animation, the better, right? And I've been saying this for a long ass time, that League of Legends is for children. It's Pokemone Unite, right? And I was like, I think somebody, Fogged, I think he was playing it, and I was like, what the hell is this map? Did they change the map as well? And surprise, surprise, look, Nexus Blitz, right? It's exactly the same map as Pokemon Unite. Do you see? Look. Do you see what I'm saying? Right? Find the difference. It's exactly the same shit. Now, who is this targeted at? It's not targeted at mid-20 people, not even teenagers. It's targeted for children who are playing. Now, League of Legends wants to move League. I think they want people to play Wild Rift. Why? Because children use smartphones. Smartphones is a toy. Right? I've been saying this for a long ass time, right? People are like, oh, but smartphone, you can do shit. Okay, relative to 3 screens, split keyboard, right? A computer that is like powerful with a proper chipset in it, right? Enough RAMs. It is impossible to do proper work on a phone. It's just not possible. But kids, because they like toys, they like phone. And League of Legends, you have higher target audience on the mobile phones. That's why they want to move League to the phone. Mobile Legends, right? One sec, I'll find some statistic. Yeah, so I found this e-charts. I'll link it in the description below. Look, you see? Top game, mobile. Bang bang. That's pretty much League of Legends Wild Rift. You see? So you see mobile games are slowly. Like PUBG. How the hell are you gonna play PUBG on a freaking mobile phone? You're gonna be a shitter, right? But it's crawling up, right? Crawling up. So you see, at some point in time, based on progression, you have to understand that the industry is targeting kids because most people are like, they start to catch on to the fact that it's all just rigged bullshit, and it's not fun when you understand that it's rigged. Does that make sense? It's not fun to understand that your freaking Diamond Challenger Grandmaster rank is just handed over to you by the system. Like in here, when you accomplish this, I saw a dude, like his lifelong dream was to get an ACL. Man, he played his heart out. I cried when he won, right? It was such an emotional moment because it means something, right? Whereas in here, oh, Jesus Christ, okay? Another dude with 3,000 games in season, he's now top 50 challenger player because he's playing a frog. Well, what's the frog name? The Tom Kench, okay? Or Mundo or Malphite, dude, like, well, come on, okay? Give me a freaking break. Talon, Jesus Christ, I mean, what kind of champion is this, okay? Talon is like, you at some point, you just literally smash, you point at the other guy and you smash your hand into keyboard and just gets a kill. Same with Zed. Like, you just point and you press and you smash your hand into the keyboard and then that's it. And ADC dies. Right? It's not this, guys. Like, it's not this. Do you understand? It's not this. It's this. It's this. Okay? And I'm showing you it's for children. Right? And I already made a video of you calling Riot and be like, hey Riot, I'm now a Grandmaster League of Legends player. Give me a job. They'll tell you, whoops, sorry. No job for you, dude. But the reason why they have to make it addictive, you know that, right? Because I already spoke about it, right? Because League of Legends is PvP. You are their employee. They have to make employees to work for free, so they have to make it addictive so that you're gonna sit there and be their employee for free. Because League of Legends does not work against bots. You cannot build a business playing versus bots in League of Legends. It's just not gonna. So they need employees for free. That's why they made it addictive. Right? So you are their product. You are employee of Tencent and you are not getting paid at all. Even though you are working like this guy's 20 games per day, it's a lot of games, dude. And you ain't getting paid. And no sports team is going to hire you. Right? Riot is not gonna call you and say, hey dude, here's some money, well done. Not gonna happen. You will not get free takeaway, I already tried it, by being a challenger player. You will not get a job at Microsoft or at Google for being a challenger player. I already tested that. Right? I have a video, I'll link it in the description below. I already tried it. So, it is complete waste of your time. Complete waste of your time. So I'm gonna link some resources in the below so you can quit the game and find something more meaningful to do with your life, right? Because this is like, it's just people can't quit. Do you know what I mean? Like they're just struggling to quit, even though they know it, right? So yeah, it sucks basically. But the whole point is that if you are in your head thinking that this League of Legends is actual sport, you basically probably too addicted to the game, and you have cognitive dissonance. Because man, honestly, present this to your parents or whatever, to your friends who do not play League, and tell them whether they think that League is sport or it's like, well, I guess they're gonna buy into the marketing, of all this thing. Because you see, if you tell them, oh, it's Prime and energy drink, they say, of course it is. Why? Because the television says so. No, it's not. You need to find a scientist, basically. Like, you need to find a scientist, and scientists will tell you, okay, number one, how do you practice the game? Oh, I spam games. Okay, it doesn't look like a sport to me. Number two, okay, is there a specific strategy that you have to do? No, you just group up, and whoever team composition has the more button smashing champions wins. Okay, doesn't look like a sport to me. Like there is it just doesn't meet the criteria of being a sport. Does that make sense? But because it's a big industry, it's unregulated, right? Marketing companies make shitloads of money by pretending that it's some kind of a sport, right? And of course, kids are naive. It's very easy to trick them. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, to sum up, right? League is not a sport. League has no skill involved. League is spam games per day, get the rank. That's what this is. So if you're serious about some kind of sport, you need to like actual physical sport or something else, like maybe CS:GO or StarCraft, maybe something, because League is not, it's not a sport, right? It's just not a sport. Right? So your rank is irrelevant. It's basically a total waste of time. Anyway, I hope you heard me there. I'm gonna link all the stuff in the description below, so take care, bye bye.